always look for projects that when there are large drops, that it has a semblance of staying power, because I've said this also in different videos that there will be a lot of cryptos, tokens, coins that won't survive this drop, meaning they'll probably still be there. They won't go back to where they were before, and it will be relatively harder for them to actually come back. We've seen cryptos drop massively. It wasn't as exciting as how it was in 2020 and 2021, and people have been terming this the bear market. People have been calling this crypto winter. But all in all, as what I've mentioned in the previous videos, this is all predicated on what's happening in the US, inflation, war in Ukraine, high interest rates, and how the stock market also is reacting in all of this. But that being said, I've said this in some of my videos that in spite of all of this, this is where also you can find opportunities. You could find projects that may be interesting, that are very, very cheap. And in this video, I want to talk about 3. But if I think about more at the end, I'll add some. But I want to start everything off with this. BNB, over the past few days, it started to push up. What's interesting about BNB though, and what makes this super interesting, is that if you look at how the larger smart contract blockchains have been, even from Ethereum to Solana to Polkadot to FTM to Near to Algorand and even to Bitcoin, from their all-time highs, majority of them, at least from the time of this recording, have dropped 70, 80, 90%. What's interesting about BNB is this. From somewhere around 700 to where it is right now, it's only down about 50+%. Why am I saying this? I think its stability in the midst of this bear market is somehow very fascinating and very interesting. And the way that it's attached to Binance, the largest exchange in the world and the large arsenal of cash and crypto that they have stored also, plus their entire BNB chain where there's so much building going on. At this time, a lot of projects, companies, exchanges, and everything else connected to crypto are trying to cut costs or trying to save money or try to expand lesser at this time. Binance is even aggressive in its hiring. I think that's something that's very interesting. And something that's interesting also in terms of BNB and their entire chain is Kazakhstan's CBDCs that will be built via the BNB chain. Always look for projects that when there are large drops, that it has a semblance of staying power, because I've said this also in different videos that there will be a lot of cryptos, tokens, coins that won't survive this drop, meaning they'll probably still be there. They won't go back to where they were before, and it will be relatively harder for them to actually come back. If you find a token, a crypto, a project that drops but somehow doesn't drop as much, it tells you that there's a buying level at a certain point which is higher. Please do remember this. Why do prices stay at a certain level? Because there's a level of buying. Because when there are people that perceive that there's already value at that particular point in time, they start to buy. And that's what we're seeing, at least in my opinion, for BNB. That's why I think it's very interesting, for the very fact that there's a lot of building being attached to the chain and the token. It's also reaping off the benefits of its affiliation with Binance and also ZC. And there's a lot of real world use cases that are being built off of it. And it also helps that it's one of the largest in terms of market cap. In spite of this bear market, it has never left the top 10 in terms of how big the market cap is, which speaks a lot. And please do remember this, it has continued its token burn. Always remember this, that tokens that are amazing, that have utility, and actually have in decreasing supply, places a greater emphasis also on the price, because there will be lesser of it later on. Please do remember that BNB's token will drop later on when all of the burning is done to a fixed supply of 100 million. Second is, I think Cardano seems to be very interesting right now, and I'm placing a lot of time and attention studying it more. What's interesting also, after their latest hard fork, was there was a lot of building that happened prior to that, and there's still a lot of building going on after that as well. One of the things that I said about Cardano, which somehow deterred me from allotting more, it's taking them a larger amount of time for them to actually execute, for them to be able to deploy to whatever plans that they have. So please do notice that they're delayed a bit, but it's common in crypto, especially even if you compare them to another smart contract blockchain like Ethereum, which has been delayed. ETH 2.0 has been delayed for more than 5 years from the time that it was actually planned to have. And even for ETH 2.0, they're still in the first part of ETH 2.0, which is the merge. They're not even in sharding yet, and there's a lot of things that they still have to do for it to be really scalable and efficient as well. What Cardano is actually doing is they're taking a slower approach, a more academic approach. It's not like what Ethereum did, that they tried everything. They want to be the first, and there's merit to that. If you have first mover advantage, you have recall, a lot of people will use you. And that's why if you look at Ethereum, they have the largest NFTs are there, the largest dApps are there, a ton of users are there, a ton of transactions are there, a ton of EVL is also there. For Cardano, you don't have that. You have a lot of people staking, you have building going on, you have dApps that are also being built, but there's not yet a ton of transactions yet as compared to what we're actually seeing, say, in Solana or say also in Ethereum. One thing that's very interesting right now is this. A couple of weeks ago, it dropped as low as 0.3. By the time of this recording, it's around 0.4. I think vis-a-vis where it was in 2021, I think it's not as expensive, primarily that it has dropped from 3.1 to around 0.3. It has dropped over 90%, close to its lowest point also. And I think there's merit to that because 2 years ago, there's actually more building done right now, but you get to have it at a fraction of what it cost more than a year ago. So one of the things that I'm looking at Cardano is basically they're taking a slower approach, which means that there might be lesser errors as compared to the other chains that want to be first to market and do it actually fast. But I guess one of the things that is very interesting also to consider when you're looking at it from that perspective is it might take longer. It might be harder for them to get adoption because all of the users will be in other chains already. So I think that's something that's worth looking at also. Number 3 is this. I've been taking a larger look also right now on XRP. Please do note that one of the use cases for XRP is to be able to create borderless transactions. One of the use cases for XRP is to be able to remit and send. It's there to disrupt remittance payments all over the world. It's there to actually help Filipinos who want to send money, not just at lightning fast speeds, but in a very, very cheap fashion. But one of the things also that I mentioned about this is that all of the other cryptos can do that. You could actually send and remit Solana cheaply. You could also do that to Tron. You can also do that to Avalanche. So there are a lot right now that can also do it. And if you try to notice it also, sometimes if it's just a millisecond and you're just remitting, you're just moving, you're just transferring, it's not something that's super noticeable. But one of the reasons why it's down, please do note that along with Bitcoin, along with Ethereum, along with Litecoin, Doge, it's one of the relatively older projects that has staying power. It has endured drops, it has endured bear markets, but it's still right here standing. And the fact of the matter is that it's still in the top 10 in terms of market cap. It speaks of people showing interest and buying it at certain levels. For ADA and also XRP, they're pretty much the same in their communities, pretty strong. They have a very, very strong and solid community that's very, very devoted to the project. But I digress. One of the reasons why it's down is because of the SEC fees. So the use cases of XRP hasn't changed. It's still there, it's still being used, but they're now introducing other things. They're trying to put stable coins and NFTs to the mix, which also Cardano did NFTs, and it's also trying to introduce also stable coins. They have their base service, but they're also adding to it, and it's down because of the SEC case that they actually have. I think this is something very interesting to consider and very interesting to watch for the very, very fact that we might see a conclusion of this case very, very soon. If they win the case, I think that will put buying pressure over XRP because a lot of people are staying on the sidelines also. They're not buying it, they've sold it down, they're out of XRP, primarily because they're trying to wait and see how the case will actually perform or how it will actually end. So if the case is favorable for XRP, people who have been hesitant to come in into XRP, that will give them somehow confidence already that, okay, they've won the case and the merits now of XRP will be based on its service, the tokenomics, what it truly is, and everything else in between. However, if they lose the case, I think that will bring selling pressure into it. So I think we're very, very close to a decision being made, but it's still at the point also where there's a level of risk that it could go either way. A A favorable case, prices would go up. A negative case, price would go down as well. And if it's not a favorable case for XRP, it would spell trouble also for other tokens and coins, because what's stopping the SEC from running after the other projects, the other tokens, the other coins? That's why a lot of people, a lot of crypto people are watching this, how the narratives will actually play out and what's gonna happen as this transpires. I'll keep you updated on this, but I'm trying to look at these three tokens, BNB, Cardano, and XRP. Again, as what I've mentioned, these are not your early stage projects. They have staying power. They have a very, very large community. They have a large amount of funding. They're in the largest market cap. So this is, at least from a risky perspective, the other 19,000 coins that have very, very low market caps, are just starting, don't have any backing, haven't really done much yet, are relatively riskier. It's just that I find them to be a bit interesting based on how they have performed over the past few days. If you have questions, put it down below. If you want to help with this video out, like, share to other friends, and subscribe. If you want to know more about investing, thousands of videos down below. I've written 5 books. I also have different types of webinars that you can check and enroll and learn from if you want to trade charts or use fundamental analysis, or at least learn the basics of investments. I have that all down below. And if you want to trade crypto, check out the exchanges that we have that you can actually choose from for you to be able to actually start your journey into the crypto markets. So that's it for now. This is marvingermo with Little Satoshi, who's currently asleep right now. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, and God bless you all.